Truslow Adams, a famous historian, said if there is to be a regeneration of the national character, it can only come about by the regeneration of each of us as individuals. It is not a matter of committees, machinery, and organization. It can only come about from the subtle change in the heart of the individual man and woman. This is powerful. Let me repeat that. If there is to be a regeneration of the national character, it can only come about by the regeneration of each of us as individuals. It is not a matter of committees, machinery, or organization. It can only come about from the subtle change in the heart of the individual man and woman. So how do we bring about this change in ourselves, but more importantly, our youth? Considering all the school shootings, the violence in the schools, a change in our national character is indeed necessary. I was once married, and from that marriage, I had 3 children: Joy, 23, Julian, 11, and Juliet, 8. It was September 1998, and I was given a speech at the Waverly Hotel, an auditorium at the Waverly Hotel. All 3 of my children were in attendance: Joy, Julian, and Juliet. I would not realize until 2 weeks later the impact that this speech would have on my youngest daughter, Juliet, until 2 weeks later. Because 2 weeks later, I just picked them up. It was my weekend with them again. It was about 8 o'clock in the evening. I was at the sink, washing some dishes. And Juliet was behind me. She was behind me at the entryway to the kitchen. And while I was washing the dishes, she was going, "Daddy, Daddy." And I was going, "Yes, Juliet, yes, Juliet." She was going, "Daddy, Daddy." I was going, "Yes, Juliet, yes, Juliet." She was going, "Daddy, Daddy." What she wanted me to do was turn around and look at her. So I turned around and looked at her, and she goes, "When I grow up, Daddy, I want to be just like you. I want to be a Speacher." A Speacher. I loved it. All I could do was go and grab her and hug her. But I said, a Speacher? There was no such word. I guess she had 2 weeks to process it. She goes, "Well, he gave a speech, so it's like a speacher." But then she like threw in like preacher, teacher. I loved it. I loved it. I decided to modify that a little bit and call it Speacher. S-P-E-A-C-H-E-R. Speacher would be the tool which would bring about the national change in character as indicated by the historian James Truslow Adams. So, what is a Speacher? What is a Speacher? Well, the S in Speacher, speak and selling our ideas effectively. In order to be successful in this world, it's necessary for us to speak and sell our ideas effectively. It's about communicating, both from the standpoint of giving and receiving in the communication process. So the S in Speacher is for what? Speaking. The P in Speacher is for positive mental attitude, regardless of the weather outside. It could be raining, snowing, sleeting. We should carry our sunshine inside of us. So the P, positive mental attitude. The E in Speacher is for enthusiasm. We should be enthusiastic, energetic, and good-spirited. Enthusiasm is from the Greek word enthusa, which means a being possessed by a higher power. So the E is for enthusiasm. The A in Speacher is for adaptable. Adaptable and viewing change is opportunity. In this ever-changing world, especially with all the mergers, acquisitions, restructuring, downsizing, right-sizing, the inability to view change as opportunity and adapt is not very advantageous to one's career. Jack Welch, CEO of General Electric, said, anytime there is change, there's opportunity. So it is important that people get energized rather than paralyzed. Anytime there is change, there is opportunity. So it's important that people get energized rather than paralyzed. So the A is for adaptable. The C in speech is for courage. The courage to set and achieve meaningful goals. Most people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. Lillian Carter, mother of our 39th president, Jimmy Carter, said, if I had one wish for my children, it would be that each of them would reach for goals that have meaning for themselves as individuals. Meaning for themselves as individuals. Meaningful individuals. I know she was talking about that. Ms. Lillian was talking about being a speaker. Yes, she was. Meaningful individuals. So the C is for?
Courage.
Courage to set meaningful goals. The H in speech is for helpful and providing leadership to others. Walter Wriston, former Citibank CEO, said, the person who figures out how to harness, help, and lead the collective genius in his or her organization is going to blow the competition away. The person who figures out how to harness, help, and lead the collective genius in his or her organization is going to blow the competition away. So, the H is for? Helpful. Providing leadership to others. The E is for evolving. Evolving to become a better person. Each and every day, as the world turns, we should become a better person. It's about sharpening the saw. I like Stephen Covey's story about sharpening the saw. He talks about having taken a walk one evening, and he saw a man cutting down a small tree, sawing down a small tree. He takes the walk, comes back about an hour later, and the guy's still sawing at this tree. Hardly had made any progress. So he walks over to the guy and he says, what are you doing? The guy says, trying to saw down this tree. He says, you've been at that a while. Why don't you sharpen the saw? The guy says, I can't. Too busy sawing. Many of us are like that. Too busy using old tools, old knowledge, old skills in this ever-changing world and expecting new results. Covey talks about there's 4 areas where we need to sharpen the saw. The mental, which is that left brain activity, reading good books or reading or tapes, listening to good tapes, self-help tapes. The emotional, social, building of the relationships. The physical, taking care of one's body from the standpoint of eating right and exercising. And the 4th one, in whichever way you choose to express it, the spiritual, and having a relationship with a higher power. So the E is for evolving through self-improvement. Okay, finally, in speech, we have the R, which is for risk taker. I cannot discover new oceans unless I have the courage to lose sight of the shore. It's about getting outside of my comfort zone because that is where the opportunity for true growth and development lies, outside my comfort zone. Another way I like to say that, a ship is safe in the harbor. But that's not what they build ships for. It's about taking risk. So the R in speech is for?
Risk taker.
The scrolls, my dreams, my plans into a living force. Action is the food and drink which will nourish my success. I will act now. My procrastination, which has held me back, was born of fear. And now I recognize this secret, mined from the depths of all creators' hearts. Now I know that in order to conquer fear, I must always act without hesitation, and the flutters in my heart will vanish. Now I know that action reduces the line of terror to an ant of equanimity. I will act now, and henceforth I will remember the lesson of the firefly, who gives up its light only when it is on the wing, only when it is in action. I will be as a firefly, and even in the day my glow will be seen. Let others be as butterflies who preen their wings, yet depend upon the charity of a flower for life. I will be as a firefly, and my light will brighten the world. I will act now. And I will not avoid the tasks of today and charge them for tomorrow may never come. Let me act now, even though my actions may not bring happiness or success. But it is better to act and fail than not to act and flounder. Happiness in truth may not be the fruit plucked by my action, but yet without action, all fruit will die in a vine. I will act now. I will act now. I will act now. I will act now. Henceforth, I'll repeat these words again, 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 and again. Each hour, each day, every day, until these words become as much a habit as my breathing, and the actions which follow will become as instinctive as the blinking of my eyelids. With these words, I can condition my mind to perform every act necessary for my success. With these words, I can condition my mind to meet every challenge that the failure avoids. I will act now. I will act now. I will act now. When I wake, I'll say them and leap from my bed, while the failure sleeps yet another hour. I will act now. When I enter the marketplace, I will say them and immediately confront my first prospect, while the failure ponders yet his possibility of rebuff. I will act now. When I face a closed door, I will say them and knock, while the failure waits outside with fear and trepidation. I will act now. When I face temptation, I will say that immediately act to remove myself from evil. I will act now. When I'm tempted to quit and begin again tomorrow, I will say that immediately act to consummate another sale. For only action determines my value in the marketplace. To multiply my value, I'll multiply my action. I will walk where the failure fears the walk. I will work when the failure seeks rest. I will talk when the failure makes silent. I will call on 10 who can buy my goods, while the failure makes grand plans to call on one. I will say it is done before the failure says it's too late. For now is all I have. Tomorrow is reserved for the labor of the lazy. I'm not lazy. Tomorrow is the day when the evil become good. I'm not evil. Tomorrow is the day when the weak become strong. I'm not weak. Tomorrow is the day when the failure will exceed, and I'm not a failure. I will act now. Ladies and gentlemen, when the lion is hungry, he eats. When the eagle has thirst, he drinks. Lest they act, both will perish. I hunger for success. I thirst for happiness and peace of mind. Lest I act, I will perish. A life of failure, misery, and sleepless nights. I will command, and I obey mine own command, for success will not wait. If I delay, she will become betrothed to another and lost to me forever. For this is the time. This is the place. I am the man. I will act now. Everybody please say it. Repeat after me with some energy and enthusiasm. I will persist until I succeed.
I will persist until I succeed.
I will never consider defeat.
I will never consider defeat.
And I will remove from my vocabulary such words and phrases as quit, cannot, unable, impossible, out of question, improbable, failure, unworkable, hopeless, and retreat. For they are the words of fools. I will persist until I succeed. So long as there is breath in me. That long will I persist. For now I know. For now I round of applause. We thank you and have a great afternoon.